Hey everyone, welcome back to another VIX Math Corner video. In the last video, we covered linear equations in a really simple and basic way. And today, we're going to go over a concept that was mentioned towards the end of the video, which is slope. So, what is slope? Before I tell you, let's take a look at these 5 graphs over here. A lot of observations can be made about these graphs. For example, these two on the left-hand side, where my cursor is, seem to be increasing as x increases. These two on the right-hand side seem to have y decreasing as x increases. And this one in the middle seems to be neither increasing nor decreasing. So with that being said, the definition of slope, as provided by Khan Academy, is a measure of steepness of a line. So there's a lot of ways in which someone can kind of interpret steepness, but the way that we quantify it, or the way that we give it a value, is by calculating the vertical change of a line divided by the horizontal change, which in other terms is the change in y divided by the change in x. So as always, let's look at some examples. Here we have the function y equals 2x plus 4, and we have the graph provided for us as well. So here's how to calculate slope. The first thing you're going to want to do is to pick 2 points along the line. They can be any 2 points. So for example, two that come to mind for me are 2, 8 and 0, 4. But another ordered pair that would work is, say, -6, -8, and -2, 0, or -4, 4, and 0, 4. Anything works as long as you're absolutely positive that what the point itself is. So I'm just going to go, for simplicity's sake, and choose 0, 4 and 2, 8. So to calculate slope, first you're going to have to assign values for x1, x2, y1, and y2. So this is actually a lot simpler than it sounds. All we're going to do is just arbitrarily set 1 to be x1, and then whatever is x1, the same y value, its corresponding y value, is going to be y1. And then for this, we can choose x2 for this and y2 for that. Now let's go enter the equation. So the equation for slope, like I mentioned, is change in y divided by change in x. Or you'll sometimes see it written like this: y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So like I said, we have these values already determined. So y2 is going to be 8 minus y1, which here we can see is 4, and that's divided by x2, which we see is 2, minus x1, which we can see is 0. So now if you simplify this, you'll get 4 divided by 2, or 2. So that's fantastic, we have the slope. But one question may come up. What if we chose the other point? What if we chose 2 as x1 and 8 as y1? Like, kind of, what if these values were flip-flopped? Well, I'll show you. So in this situation, it would be 4 minus 8 over 0 minus 2 equals -4 over -2, which is also 2. So these values are exactly the same. So the point is, regardless of what you choose as x1, x2, y1, and y2, as long as you're consistent, like as long as the x2 and y2 belong to the same point and x1, y1 belong to the same point, you're going to get the same correct answer. What you don't want to do is say x1 is, say, 0 and y1 is 8, because they don't belong to the same point. It's not 0, 8. It's 0, 4 and 2, 8. Hope that makes sense. Now let's move on to the second example. We're given the equation y equals 0x plus 3, or y equals 3. So let's calculate the slope for this one. Well, you may see that there's actually no vertical change here because it's just a straight line, a straight horizontal line. And that's absolutely true. But just to mathematically verify, let's say we just choose the points 1, 3 and 0, 3. And once again, you can choose any points along this line. So let's just plug it in. We get 3 minus 3 over either 0 minus 1 or 1 minus 0, depending on what you choose as x1 and x2. And regardless, you're going to get 0. So the rate of change, or the slope, of this line is 0. So it's neither increasing nor decreasing. It's just what we call a constant function. Let's move on to this last example. Here we're provided that it's y equals negative 2x plus 3. So they very kindly gave us 2 points already. So they gave us 0, 3, which is the point that we see right here. I just underlined it. And then they also gave 3, 1. So let's assign the values x1, y1, x2, y2, and now plug it into the equation. I'll just enter the equation one more time. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now let's plug in the values. So y2 minus y1, so 1 minus 3, over x2 minus x1, so 3 minus 0, equals negative 2 over 3. Whoops, 3. So the slope of this line, or the measure of its steepness, is negative 2/3. Now you may be seeing a little pattern with this. It seems like the slope here matches up with the number that goes before the variable, or the slope matches the coefficient, and this is completely intentional. So what you'll notice is that in the form y equals mx plus b, this m value is the slope. So just to recap, slope is the measure of steepness of a line, and to calculate it, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. For the process of calculating slope, all you need to do is find 2 points and assign values for x1, x2, y1, and y2. And then once you plug in the numbers, you just calculate, and that's it. Thanks for watching, and please feel free to watch other videos just to help with your Algebra 1 knowledge. Thanks.